So what exactly this chapter we have to study? Generally all of you know that we are having the vector for the any quantity which is having direction and magnitude. So we are having the vector and we can use the vector quantity there. But in mathematics, physics, all of you know vector is mainly for the physics purpose, not for the mathematics purpose. So in mathematics, maximum things is there, scalar, which does not have the direction. So it was creating the problem for the all mathematics. If it would have some direction, so we can do much better way. So if I say 5, so 5 doesn't have the direction. This does not have direction, it's just a number. So there is the problem always comes. So what the mathematician thought, why not we should try to write any scalar quantity also with some kind of direction. So they come up with the idea about the complex number. As such, you know, complex number is nothing but real plus imaginary number. It's just game of real plus imaginary. Means pure real plus pure imaginary. If you add them or subtract them, so the new number which comes, that is called as the complex number. So complex number is nothing but the combination of real and imaginary. So imaginary does not have any significant. For example, if I say root of -4, what is the root of -4? We simply say it's imaginary. More than that, this does not have any other meaning. It's just imaginary. You cannot plot anywhere. You cannot tell any bigger quantity or lesser quantity. All those things cannot work it here. But we use this logic, this imagination for doing for the complex number or getting direction. I will tell you how the direction, meaning and all used to come. But this does not have any graphical representation. This point you should keep in mind. It does not follow any mathematics rule. Any mathematics rule in the sense, we used to say that rational number, irrational number, positive number, negative number, all these things doesn't work with the imaginary number. Imaginary number, you cannot say integer, non-integer, rational, irrational. Imaginary number, you cannot say it's a positive or negative. Imaginary number, you cannot say which is bigger. Means you cannot say that if anybody asking who is bigger, root of -4 is bigger or root of -1 is bigger, you cannot say. You can't say this is the 4, this is the 1, so surely this will be bigger. It's wrong. You cannot compare any two imaginary number. Understand? Because comparison means who is bigger. And bigger means you should see. You should have the, graphically you should able to represent. Then only you can say that we used to say 2 is greater than 1. Why? Because on the real number line, 2 will be somewhere here, 1 will be somewhere here, and right side 2 is coming. So we say that this the right side is coming, that's why it's bigger than 1. Understood? But this we cannot represent on any real number line. So that's why it doesn't have any significant meaning. So all the mathematics rule will not be applicable in the imaginary number. Generally children get confused. Complex number means imaginary number. No, nothing like that. In fact, once you go in higher classes, for example, when you go in the engineering and whatever mathematics branch will be there is no scalar number. There is no real number mathematics. Everything they do in the term of the complex number. Either it's a calculus or vector, whatever. Everything is the complex number. So they don't talk about the 5. They always talk about the complex quantity. So complex number is the main thing. So what is the complex number? We say that it's a real number plus imaginary number. Imaginary number, all of you know, representation basics, all of you know, so I am not going to waste much time into this. Root of root of -1 is written as a what? I. It's called as the what? Iota. Its name is the iota. This already all of you having. I don't want to spend much time into here. The root of -1 is the I. It's a significant. It's not a formula. Basically, what happened every time writing root -4, people say simply write 2i, because this 4 can be taken out and that will become 2i. So it was easy. It's look beautiful compared to this look. So it's just representation so that imaginary number we can represent by the I. So I value is equal to root of -1. I don't have to tell you I square will be -1, I cube will be -I. Yes or no? I power 4 will be 1. All those things already all of you know. I don't have to tell you. I power n, if n is integer. So if it's a n is multiple of 4, so its value will be 1. If n is multiple of 4, you know it, n is multiple of 4, so we'll say that I power n will be 1. If I is multiple of 2, means even number, so value will be what? Either this plus 1 or minus 1 if n is even. Why plus 1 minus 1? If n is even but not divisible by 4, so it will be minus 1. If it's even but divisible by a 4, so we'll say that it will be plus 1 because of the previous one. All other things you can easily understand. I don't have to tell you. Can I skip this part? Doing a small question into this. All of you can do the things, right? So it's not a big deal. It's a very small things. You should be able to understand. If I ask you what is the value of I power n plus I power n plus 1 plus I power n plus 2 plus I power n plus 3. Just wait. So I power n plus I power n plus 1, I power n plus 2, I power n. Easily you can understand. You can take I power n common. So what you will get? 1 plus I plus I square. I square will be what? Minus 1. Plus I power 3. I power 3 will be what? Minus I. Yes or no? So that value will be equal to 0. So always remember, because minus 1 will get cancelled, I minus I will get cancelled, value will come 0. Always remember, if there is the 4 consecutive powers of the I added, it will be always 0. It will be always 0. Nothing great. These things you can easily understand. I'm just talking about the I, nothing else. 4 consecutive powers is added, then value will be 0. I, meaning of I, you should be able to understand. Before I start complex number, I didn't start anything. I'm just telling you what is the meaning of the I, nothing else. Right? So I meaning, all of you know, this is the what the I meaning used to be there. Anyway, come back to complex number. So complex number always be represented by the Z, omega, W, something like that. It's not compulsory. You can take X also, whatever representation. But I will represent by the Z, which you call it as a EZ. I used to call it as a Z. So this Z is the representation of the complex number. Not at all necessary, be clear. This is not a standard rule ki complex number will be represented by Z only. It's up to us ki we can write it. So complex number says any complex number is equal to some real number plus I into some again real number. This is the representation, algebraic representation of complex number. Any complex number we represent by like this. Because real plus imaginary, so A is the pure real number, B is the pure real number, but I into B will make it pure imaginary number. Understood? Here some terms are there. A is called as the real part of Z. A is nothing but a real part of Z, written like this, REZ. B is called as the imaginary part of Z. Imaginary part of Z, written as IMZ. Be clear, A and B must be pure real number. A and B must be pure real number. A and B must be pure real number. So every if I'll say, can you represent some complex number? Yes, Z equal to 2 plus 3i. This is the what? Complex number. What is the real part of Z? 2. Real imaginary part of Z? 3. Am I right? If I ask you Z equal to 5. Is it complex number? Yes, because this I can write as what? 5 plus 0i. So here real part of z will be 5 and imaginary part of z will be 0. But that different issue, this is called as the pure real number. This complex number is a pure real number, but it's still complex number. That's why whole mathematics, everything is the complex number. Everything is a complex number. That's what you will see in your future classes in higher mathematics if you are having. So you will see that every number is a complex number. Z equal to, I can say 2i. This is also complex number because this I can write 0 plus 2i. So real part of z will be 0 and imaginary part of z will be what? 2. So z equal to, suppose if I say 0. To 0 I can write 0 plus 0i. This is called as the null complex number. Null complex number, as like null vector used to be there. This is called as the null complex number. Understood, all of you? So this is the what? This is the way we used to represent complex number. So if I ask you, if z1 equal to x1 plus ii y1 and z2 equal to x2 plus I y2, a little bit theory is there, some boring thing, but we should study. What will be z1 plus z2? Simply add them. So if you add them, the real part will become x1 plus x2 plus I into y1 plus y2. Minus if it's there, so here also minus, here also minus. If I ask you what is z1, z2, so what you'll say? Multiply them. Be clear, multiply them and write in the a plus ib form. So if you multiply these, look, real part what will come? This and this multiplying. Oral I am doing x1, x2, of course, real. What other real can come? When this will multiply with this. So what will come? I square y1 y2, that is the minus y1 y2. So this is the real part. What is the imaginary part will come? Plus I into, when this will multiply with this, means x1 y2 minus, not minus, plus. When this will multiply with this, this one will multiply with this x2 y1. I hope getting all of you. So real part of z1 z2 is the x1 x2 minus y1 y2, and imaginary part of z1 z2 is the this. No, nothing you have to learn. I am just telling you the way of representation. So if I say what is the z1 by z2, what do you say? x1 plus I y1 divided by x2 plus I y2. So what will come? Because this is value, of course this is the value, but we should always write in the form of a plus ib. Always we should write in the form of a plus. This is not a plus ib. Whenever denominator contain I, so that is not a plus ib form. So what should we do? We should multiply with the conjugate of complex number. Conjugate we'll discuss in detail, but just simply for time being I am telling, to get conjugate of z, replace I by minus I. This is what you have to do, nothing else. Whenever you are, if I am asking what is the conjugate of any complex number, wherever I is there, just replace that I by minus I. That will give you your conjugate. Understood everybody? That will give you always conjugate. If I ask you what is the conjugate of 1 minus I, I will say I will replace by minus I, it will become 1 plus I. What is the conjugate of sine 2 plus I? So I will say sine 2 minus I, sine of 2 minus I. If I ask what is the conjugate of 2 plus I divided by 1 plus cos I, conjugate of this. So I will replace I by minus I. So what is the conjugate will come? 2 minus I divided by 1 plus cos of minus I. Cos of minus I will be what? Cos minus theta. All of you know cos theta. So cos minus I will write cos I itself. This is the conjugate. Did you understand? Conjugate is the separate segment. We will discuss very much in detail. Don't worry. But right now, in between, I will use the conjugate word. So you should not get confused. So whenever I have to do, whenever denominator contain complex number, fix one rule. Whenever denominator will contain complex number, I will multiply conjugate of this. So if you multiply conjugate of this numerator as well as denominator, x2 minus I by 2. So that denominator will become what? x2 square minus I by 2 whole square. x2 square minus I by 2 whole square. I by 2 whole square will be what? I square by 2 square. So I square minus 1. So this will become x2 square plus y2 square. Numerator. Try to learn how to do. Don't do simply like for multiplying. Why? I have to write real imaginary. Very simple. Real when will come when x1, x2 will multiply. Imaginary when will come then again real when will come when these two will multiply to plus y1, y2. Why plus y1, y2? Because that will become I square y1, y2 minus half I square y1, y2. Minus half I square y1. I square is minus 1. So this will come. And imaginary part when this will multiply here and when this will multiply here. So plus I into what will come? x2 y1 minus x1 y2. Something like this. So your real part will be this by this. Imaginary part will be this by this. Is this clear? Understood everybody? So this is the way we used to write these values and we should know how to calculate. I am not going to spend much time. Just simple Chinnu question, write it. Find a real part of z and imaginary part of z if first bit z equal to 2 plus 3i divided by 1 plus 2i. Second bit z equal to 1 by I. Third bit z equal to cos I. Fourth bit z equal to something good question. And that's all. Do it. These three questions quickly. One more to it. One more also write it. Root of 1 plus I. Very simple question. Done. Alright, this much time. Everybody finish? चलिए, first one is very simple. Z equal to 2 plus 3i divided by 1 plus 2i into, in denominator I will multiply 1 minus 2i, numerator also I will multiply 1 minus 2i. So denominator become very simple, that is the 1 square minus 4i square, means 1 plus 4, 1 plus 4, yes or no? And numerator, real part, when 1 will multiply with the 2 and when 3i will multiply with the minus 2i. So 1 will multiply with the 2, that will become 2, and this will multiply, that will become plus 6. Yes. And imaginary part, plus I into imaginary part, when this will multiply with this 3, minus when this will multiply with this 4. So 3 minus 4 is the minus 1. I may do calculation mistakes, so you have to be careful. So we are going to get 8 by 5 minus or plus I into minus 1 by 5. So real part will be 8 by 5 and imaginary part will be minus 1 by 5. I hope everybody got it. Correct. Second question, very simple. This is the miss. It's just waste of time. Z equal to 1 plus I will multiply numerator as well as denominator. So Z equal to, it will become minus I divided by minus I square. Why? Because I multiply conjugate of it. So conjugate of I will be what? Minus I. I multiply by the minus I. So that will become minus I divided by minus into minus 1. So that will become 1. I square minus 1. No? So that will become minus I. Minus I can write 0 plus I into minus 1. So real part of Z will be 0 and imaginary part of Z will be minus 1. Is this clear to all of you? Very simple things I am teaching. Third one, got it? Okay. Did not get. What is the imaginary part of the third one? Imaginary part of third one, that answer you can give it. Imaginary part of third question. Hey, nobody got it. Alright, complex number is not started, its trailer is going on. In the trailer itself, all of you collapse. What is imaginary part of third bit question? Okay, somebody saying 1. You should slap yourself. That is better option. Anybody else? Imaginary part of Z in the third bit. Okay. Somebody is getting correct. Let's see, third question. Z equal to cos I. First thing is that I is inside the cos. How can I solve? I cannot solve it. I will take a help of. Have you heard about the series, all of you? Sin theta series, cos theta series, tan theta series, e power x series. No. Look at here. Series, sin theta series. If don't know how this series are all is coming, that we will discuss in the calculus. But right now you can write it. theta minus theta cube by 3 factorial plus theta power 5 by 5 factorial minus theta power 7 by 7 factorial plus so on. I hope you understood what will be next term. Theta power 9 by 9 factorial. This is called as a series, converting in the polynomial series. Sin theta is this, cos theta is this. 1 minus theta is square by 2 factorial plus theta power 4 by 4 factorial minus theta power 6 by 6 factorial. Did you understand the pattern now? Next will be what? Plus theta power 8 by 8 factorial minus theta power 10 by 10. Till where it will go? Till infinity it will go. How this series is coming? What is the logic? That is in the calculus you will learn. Same way, e power x series 1 plus x square by 2 factorial plus x cube by 3 factorial plus x power 4 by 4 factorial and so on. This is the e power x series. One more series. These 4 are very common. Apart from that also other series can come, which you can use the method for getting this one. In calculus you will learn ln 1 plus x series. That is the x minus x square by 2, only 2, not 2 factorial, plus x cube by 3 minus x power 5 by 5 plus so on. These 4 series, night 2 o'clock also you should remember. It's a very common, very frequently I am going to use it, especially in calculus will be very much it will be used. This series will derive by using Taylor's theorem in the calculus, not now. So right now you can just memorize. Only 3 terms you have to memorize, rest by pattern easily you can write it. Did you understand? Now your third bit question is what? Z equal to cos I. Look, in this theta I can replace theta by I. So what the Z will come? 1 minus I square by 2 factorial plus I power 4 by 4 factorial minus I power 6 by 6 factorial plus I power 8 by 8 factorial minus I power 10 by 10 factorial plus so on. Please concentrate. So Z equal to I square is what? Minus 1. I power even is what? I power even will be either plus 1 or minus 1. If it's a multiple of 4, it will be plus 1. If it's not multiple of 4, it will be minus 1. So this is not multiple of 4, minus 1. So 1 plus 1 by 2 factorial. This will be multiple of 4, so plus 1. So plus 1 by 4 factorial. This is the multiple, not multiple of 4, so minus 1. So plus 1 by 6 factorial. Now pattern you understood. 1 by 8 factorial plus 1 by 10 factorial. If anybody asks me what is the next term will come, you will say 1 by 12 factorial. Did you understand? Is there any I is appearing here? No. All the I disappear. So I will say this Z, I will write this plus 0I. So what is the real part of this complex number? This much. This is the real part of this. And what is the imaginary part of this complex number? 0. Because there is no I in this. Although it's appearing I here, but there is no I term after expanding. If anybody asking you, tell me cos I is a pure real number or pure imaginary number, I will say it's a pure real number. Cos I is pure real number. Is it clear to everybody? In JEE very old days, in 70s, one true false question was asked. Look all of you. Cos theta is always less than 1. Less than or equal to 1. True, false. A very simple question, right? 9th class children can tell me. Huh? Type your answer. True, false. True or false? This is the IIT question. Believe me, the same way they ask question. No, not this way. Very much old. Maybe I also didn't born that time. That's much old question this is. True, false. Everybody must respond. Somebody saying true, somebody saying false. Here also people having doubt. Congratulations. Every question in ask in IIT doesn't mean that there will be some problem. Simply basic question also they can ask. Of course, answer is false. Because they did not mention that theta is real or imaginary. Look, just now I got it what? Ki cos I is nothing but 1 plus 1 by 2 factorial plus 1 by 4 factorial plus 1 by 6 factorial. See, this quantity is positive. Here all quantity is positive. So it will be greater than 1. Because 1 plus positive greater than 1. Cos theta, suppose somebody say, is it possible cos theta can be greater than 1? Yes, it's 100% possible. When theta is imaginary. When theta is imaginary. They will say, sir, in every book it will written cos theta always lie between minus and 1. You didn't read fully. When they write this statement, in the side they write where theta belongs to real. This statement should be there. When theta is real, of course, cos theta always less than equal to 1. But when theta is imaginary, it will be greater than 1. Pure imaginary. Again I am saying, it should be pure imaginary. Pure imaginary means something into I. It should not be A plus IB. If something into I is there, then only all these terms will become what? Plus 1, minus 1, plus 1, minus 1. And then finally it will come something like this. Is it clear to everybody? So this series is very, very important. You have to know. So this question, real part of Z will be 1 plus 1 by 2 factorial plus 1 by 4 factorial plus so on, and imaginary part of Z will be 0. Or you can say it's a pure real number. Is it pure real number? No. Is it pure real number? No. But this is pure real number. Now this part, root of 1 plus I. Actually, it's a very simple question. If you apply higher mathematics, that is a De Moivre's theorem and all, when I will teach you, that time this question is very, very simple. Right now, I'm just going by the normal way. Root of 1 plus I. So I'm assuming let Z equal to root of 1 plus I. I have to get real part and imaginary part. Whenever you have to get a real part, imaginary part, what you do? Assume let Z equal to x plus iy. My target is to get the x and y. Are you getting my point? Put it here. So I'll say x plus iy will be equal to root of 1 plus I. Square both sides. So I'll get x plus iy whole square will be equal to 1 plus I. Is it clear? Till here clear? All of you understood? Why I am doing like this? Because I don't know how to expand this. In future, we will see how to expand oral. That we can do it by using De Moivre's theorem very easily. We don't have to do all this drama. But at this point of time, we will assume whenever you don't know this side value, if you are not able to express easily A plus IB format, you assume Z equal to x plus iy and do something so that x and y you can calculate. Now if you expand it, you will get x square plus iy whole square. That is the x square minus y square plus 2 into x into iy means 2ixy equal to 1 plus I. So we'll get x square minus y square equal to 1 and 2xy equal to 1. I'm sure कि able to understand all of you. Now how to do? Okay. X square plus y square I can write what? X square minus y square whole square plus 4x square y square. Check it, I did correct. Yes or no? If you square it, x power 4 plus y power 4 minus 2x square y square to plus 4 square. So this will be both the same or not? Why I did by this? So that is x square plus y square, I can get it. So x square plus y square whole square is equal to x square minus y square is given already 1. 2xy equal to 1. So 4x square y square will be what? 1 plus 1. So x square plus y square equal to plus minus root 2. And x square minus y square already you are having 1. Add these two. So what you will get? I am doing by lengthy method. That's the easy method, later stage. 2x square will become what? 1 plus minus root 2. So x will be what? Plus minus root of 1 plus minus root 2 by 2. Could not understand? Understood all of you? So real part will be this much. How to get imaginary part? You can subtract it. If you subtract it, you will get y equal to, directly I am subtracting, watch it, this minus 1. That means plus minus root of minus 1 plus minus, minus 1 plus minus, wait a minute, I'm sorry. Plus minus root 2 minus 1 divided by 2. This much. So your real part will be this and imaginary part of this. Did you understand, everybody? Now in this there is some problem. You have to understand what problem. X is always real. Y is always real. So think very carefully. Root 2 value is what? 1 point something. So 1 minus root 2 I cannot take. Why I cannot take? That will become negative and x will become imaginary. X has to be real. So x having the value plus minus root of 1 plus root 2 by 2. This is the x value. Now y value think. Y value is given what? Plus root 2 minus 1 or minus root 2 minus 1. So minus root 2 minus 1 cannot be happen. So y value how much? Plus minus root of root 2 minus 1 by 2. Did you understand the point? Could not understand. Is it clear to everybody? So x value, so here there will be this is the two possibility will be there. Either x equal to 4 possibility will be there. So what is the z value? Either plus or plus minus. Plus minus means I am taking plus here and minus here. Or minus plus or minus minus. Check any mistake I did. I feel like mistakes is happening. Yes. This value will be rejected. Think why. These two value rejected. Think why. Two xy is 1. Product of x and y must be positive. Product of x and y must be positive. So it means either both plus should be there or both minus. Plus minus cannot be. So finally answer will appear this way. What is the final answer? Final answer z equal to either root of 1 plus root 2 by 2 plus I into root of root 2 minus 1 by 2 or z equal to minus of root of 1 plus root 2 by 2 plus minus I into root of root 2 minus 1 by 2. Is this clear to everybody? This kind of analysis you have to do, but believe me, I never do by this way, and you will also not do. It's just for calculation I'm showing it. Later stage we'll do by using Demarest theorem. Easily answer will come. We don't have to do this much drama. So I hope it's clear to everybody. So this part has been done. If anybody wanted to take a screenshot, I'll just make it small. If you want to note it down, please copy it. Take a screenshot. I'll change the page. Done. चलिए next, some points we should write it. small point, not a big point. Write down complex number in the bracket you can mention not pure real, never follow inequality. What I mean to say, a plus ib cannot be written as c plus id. Understood my point? Inequality, it never follow. 5 is also complex number, 3 is also complex number. This follow inequality because 5 is not pure real number. It's a pure real number. This is also pure. Pure real number follow inequality. That's of course. But any complex number which having imaginary part, they never follow inequality. Since they don't follow the inequality, that's why there is no concept of positive complex number or negative complex number. Complex number never can be categorized as a positive complex number or negative, because positive number means which is greater than 0. So positive means it has to follow inequality. It does not follow the inequality, so we'll say that it will be always written in this format. So never follow the inequality. Did you understand this point? Next. Multiplicative inverse of z is 1 by z. I don't have to tell you, all of you know. Means inverse of multiplication. Inverse of multiplication, all of you know, division. If I ask you what is the multiplicative inverse of z, you have to say 1 by z. Sometimes they will say what is the additive inverse of z, means addition inverse. In addition inverse, what? It's a subtraction. So that will become minus z. Did you understand? So these are the small things which you should know it. And now we should start complex number. Till now we were not doing complex number. We are just, I was telling you what is the meaning of I, what is the use of series. Every complex number will have 3 formats. Any complex number we can write in 3 formats. One is algebraic form. Another is called the trigonometric form, or you can say polar form. And the last one is the exponential form. Whenever we have to represent complex number, we represent in this form. Algebraic form you already studied, a plus ib. Complex number, whenever we write in the form of real part of z plus imaginary part of z, it's called as the algebraic form. Commonly we use earlier kiwi, it's an algebraic form only, but For solving good questions, we use exponential form or trigonometric form. That is a more easier. I will tell you why. Complex number we always represent on a plane. Complex number represent on Argand plane or imaginary plane. This is the bookish style I wrote it. Complex number always represent on Argand plane or imaginary plane. It's totally false information. Any complex number we cannot represent in a line, in a plane, any kind of the plane, whatever name you want. The correct version of it is that real part of Z and imaginary part of Z we represent on XY plane. XY plane, all of you know. Where x-axis represent real axis and y-axis represent imaginary axis. Imaginary part axis, be clear. Imaginary axis, no. Imaginary part. So what I am trying to tell you, complex number you cannot represent on any Argand plane. Otherwise, why it will be called as the complex number? If it's containing I, how can I represent in a plane? We just represent, it's a real part and imaginary part in the Argand, in a XY plane. And when we represent in the XY plane, that kind of the plane is called as your X Argand plane. Listen me carefully. If you study in the physics motion, when we represent by this time and this represent by the displacement, we say we are drawing ST graph. Have you heard it? ST graph, displacement time graph, velocity time graph. Actually, it's a coordinate axis only. Why? X-axis, Y-axis. We just change the name. This become time axis, this is the displacement axis. So it's not a new plane. The same XY plane, we just rename the X-axis and Y-axis. Same thing in the complex number take place. X-axis we always represent, we call it, this is the real axis. Real axis means don't get confused, it's a real axis. A real part of complex number will represent on this line. That's why we call it real axis. And here we represent imaginary part of the complex number. That's why it's called as the imaginary axis. Again, don't get confused. It's not imaginary axis. Don't think we have to imagine this. Did you understand? So real axis, real means here will represent real part, here will represent imaginary part. Now, if I simply say Z equal to 2 plus 3i, 2 plus 3i, listen me carefully everybody. If I say represent it on Argand plane, nobody can represent 2 plus 3i in any kind of the plane, again I am saying. But I will also in future simply say that, okay, represent 2 plus 3i in the Argand plane. But you have to understand that sir is saying that represent 2 on real axis and 3 on imaginary y-axis. That's what the meaning. So here will be your real axis. This is your imaginary axis. Here real part of 2 unit to 2 unit somewhere here. And this is the 3 unit, the 3 unit somewhere here. That means this is the way it will come. Yes or no? So what is this coordinate? 2, 3. If this is the 2, this is the 3, this will be 2, 3. When this is the 2, 3 and that's what called as the Z. So any complex number we represent in the point form also and that's represented as a 2, 3. Why we represent 2, 3? Because when we represent real x part and imaginary part here on this axis, so this looks like a point, so we call it as a point format also. This way also you can represent a complex number. It's an algebraic form. And this is the Z. And if you join with the origin and put one arrow, this is your Z, and Z look like a vector, and that is what all mathematicians wanted. They want to get something direction, something to direction. So if they will take 2 number, One they will put on the real axis, another they will put on the imaginary axis, and they will get a feeling of a vector. It will give you, it's not a vector, but it's give us a feeling of a vector. Is it clear? And this kind of the plane is called as the orgone plane. So since it's give the feeling of the vector, the complex number having the two major important thing. One, it's a modulus. All of you wrote this point. Can I move the page? Every complex number will have the two important things. Complex number Z will have its magnitude and direction, because it's look like a vector. Magnitude we represent by mod Z. This mod Z is not mod that we learn in basic maths. That was algebraic mod. It's just representation. It's I told you there, mod, whenever we keep, that meaning is what? Magnitude of the quantity. So it's representing the magnitude of Z. But you cannot write mod Z equal to Z if Z greater than 0. Hello. We write mod x equal to x if x greater than equal to 0, minus x if x less than 0. Here you cannot write, because this is a symbolic mod. It just represents symbol. Okay, it's representing magnitude. Second, it's direction. Direction or other name you can say argument of Z, or you can say amplitude of Z. All having the same meaning. Slight difference is there between these two statements, which we will see later. But right now you can take it argument Z or amplitude Z, which is represented by theta. So remember everybody, if I say this is a complex number Z, this is the real axis, this is the imaginary axis, and this is your Z, one point, whose coordinate is, whose a plus ib. If it's a plus ib, so this will write as what? A comma b. So if you join these two, this length is called as the mod Z. And the angle made by this line with the positive direction of x-axis or real axis, you can say that theta is called as the argument. This mod Z is called as the magnitude of Z or modulus of Z, whatever name you want to call it. Both are same thing. Theta is called as the argument of Z, or direction of Z, or amplitude of Z, whatever you want to say. So from this picture, can you tell me what is the mod Z will be? Mod Z will be, if you draw perpendicular, this length is A, this length is B, so this will be root of Pythagoras theorem, root of A square plus B square. And argument Z also you can tell very easily. Argument Z means theta. And tan theta, this length is what? B. And this length A. So I can say tan theta equal to B by A. So theta equal to tan inverse B by A. Is this clear to everybody? Chaliye, for today it's more than enough. Revise these things, and NCERT must be gone through. NCERT is compulsory before doing anything else.